The video I'm about to play is very powerful, so I'm going to get right into it. This is Representative Chip Roy saying that you can believe whatever you want, but you cannot engage in a political effort to Islamify the United States of America and not expect people of the United States of America to fight back.
Look, I'm not going to take a whole lot of time. I want to be very clear. I am proud to be with this group of Americans, of colleagues, many of whom wore the uniform in defense of our nation and in defense of our nation against radical Islamic terrorists who wanted to destroy our country and destroy what we know about Western civilization. And now that same war is being conducted against us, but from within. Powerful,
powerful words there. This video says that Kash Patel, or the FBI, has been threatening Thomas Massie's staff with criminal investigations if they continue to speak out against the nation of Israel.
Also, I'm going to say this here on camera because it's important. One of Kash Patel's staff threatened my staff with a criminal investigation if we didn't straighten up and play ball.
I was going to ask you about that, but since you brought it up, and I didn't.
I'm bringing it up.
Okay, you brought it up.
And so, like a criminal investigation having nothing to do, he said it was going to be a fraud. We're going to investigate one of your staff for fraud. Right. And he told another one of my staff this. If you guys don't straighten up, if you want to play hardball, if this is how you want to play it or something like that, this member of your staff is going to get criminally investigated for fraud.
Now, why would that be a threat? Let me tell you why. It's because they know that there's dirt everywhere in every political circle, from Trump's administration, the people around him, to everything to do with Biden, Kamala Harris, the smuggling of money to Somalia into channels directly into the pocketbooks, potentially, according to reports of Tim Walz. This is corruption being laid bare. I say, put it all out there. Investigate everybody, put it all out there, and let's the people vote on exactly what we see from this point forward.
In space, and that China has launched a satellite that has a kind of a grappling arm on it that could mess with U.S. military or commercial satellites. First of all, is that true, and what can you tell me about your perspective on that?
It is true. I think it's so clever that the Russians have the nesting doll satellite.
What is that exactly?
So this is the Space Force Chief General B. Chan Saltzman. What he's saying is that China and Russia are very capable in the field of space warfare. They will, in a long enough emergency, take down all U.S. satellites. They will attack all of our communications. What you're going to see in the USA in a long duration war is going to be a multifaceted, open wide theater. Your trash will not get picked up. Your power will not be reliable at best. Most likely it will be completely non-existent. Your access to city water, gone. So you have to start thinking about every aspect of your survival, because this is their plan. This isn't theory. This is their plan. So if you have no power, what are you going to do? If you can't run your well without a generator, that means you need fuel. You need a backup generator or small engine repair capability. You need the components that will no longer be traveling from China to America that repair your small engines. So you need fuel, power generation, access to water, water filtration. That means you need something like the old, they used to use carbon filters. You can get a reverse osmosis system, but that requires power. So how about a sand filter? This was one of the first filters that they made across the entire industrialized world. A sand filter uses multiple layers of sand, coal, grit, charcoal, and actually on top it builds an algae layer that in German is called a Schmutzdeck. And that Schmutzdeck is what is actually the first line of filtration. Then it goes down through all the other lines and you get clean and drinkable water at the bottom. Building that today is going to be important for your survival tomorrow.
Income taxes, sales taxes, capital gains taxes, death taxes, emissions taxes, gasoline taxes, road taxes, tolls. But in my mind, none of them are nearly as un-American as property taxes. And all that this bill is saying is that we're going to do the exact same thing to government that American families have to do, and that is live within your means.
So what they're planning to do with this is not to necessarily abolish property taxes, though a lot of states are going to go this direction, including Florida, which says property taxes should never be a part. That's a local government problem. You should not have to pay more because you inherited a house that now they suddenly inflated to be worth $1 million. So all of these other countries, all of these other states, all these other counties, what they're going to do is they're going to try and cap property taxes at the rate of inflation. So if the rate of inflation is 2%, well, then your property taxes can only go up 2%. I think that's a start.
Is developing now ballistic missiles that are intercontinental ballistic missiles for 8,000 kilometer range.
This is another warning from Netanyahu saying that America is within a threat range. Listen to what happened in just a 48-hour period. Harvard was blacklisted by the Department of War. The Pentagon cut all ties with Harvard. No fellowships, no training. Trump RX was released, undercutting large pharmaceutical corporations by 70%. This isn't what you think it is. This is just a change. They're not trying to take down the monopoly. They're shifting who they take the money from. You used to subsidize these large corporations by paying $1,000 for something another country would get for $10. The DHS funding is running out. They don't have a good plan. We saw new tariffs on Iran and multiple countries, and the Federal Reserve is threatening to sue its own Fed nominee. This was the moment the mask came off, according to some of these reports.
I went through the whole presentation without mentioning the World Economic Forum.
So he's talking about the World Economic Forum and that the UK will not be saved in closed rooms by global elites or unelected power. The UK and America will only be saved when the public says no more. And I think we're kind of getting to that point. All right, this is more of Trump's movements. You know, I just talked with a friend in the last 24 hours, and I said we only have two options here. As a country, you have a really rough road ahead. That's 10, 20 years of absolute madness and garbage. We're going to look back at this as the good old times. And actually, a fellow prepper and survivalist here on YouTube, Breakaway Homesteader, I was talking with him, and we talked about how can you look back at COVID and you think those were the good old days? Because inflation is more, cost of living is more, cost of housing is more. Everything is worse today than it was then. So the fact that we look at that as the good old days shows you how bad things are going to get in the near future. So we're going to look back on today, the moves you can make today as the good old days. And so you better just get ahead of the game with it, and you better do everything that you possibly can.
A good compromise is everyone leaves a little bit unhappy, right? But I think what's going to happen is that after market structure passes, the banks are going to get fully into the crypto industry. So we're not going to have a separate banking industry and crypto industry. It's going to be one digital assets industry. And I think
will they be regulated
their opinions are going to evolve over time. And I bet.
Now, my biggest concern is that the World Economic Forum, all of the globalists right now, they want every asset to be digitized, tokenized, and under control. So if America has, let's just say 3 trees, if America has 3 trees, they will be able to leverage those trees for what they could provide to the economy. And through that leveraging and tokenizing of that, they'll say, well, you've only got 3 trees, give us a half a tree and we'll let you do this. And we'll let banking do this. We'll let the stock market do this. We'll let taxes do this. Well, they're going to tax the air you breathe, the fuel you use, the water you drink, the ground you go into after you die. Their plan is to tax literally every asset possible. The electricity that you use, your air conditioning, everything will be taxed, monitored, controlled, tokenized, digitized, and leveraged.
Cubans are protesting. They're all in the streets. Here's why. The president is having its military go house to house to pick up generators, confiscate them. Said there will be use for these if the Yankees come in. The rationings that they used to get, the little bit of food that was passed around, is no longer being passed around. Some of them are on days without any food. Water, complete standstill. Water truck shows up, everybody can fill whatever little bucket they have. Water truck goes empty, there's not enough water for everybody. So yes, they are now in the streets. There's countless videos of them protesting. They're heading to the Capitol.
Now, folks, a long duration emergency in America is going to look very similar. They're going to try, through continuity of government, provide a certain amount to the American people, whether that's fresh drinking water, whether that is oil, rice, oil, flour, and salt. They're going to try to provide something, but it is not going to be enough. If you want your family to have enough, that's why you're a prepper and a survivalist. You better find those hunting areas now, those fishing hotspots today. Put them on a GPS. Hopefully China won't knock them out. Put them on a GPS. Start hunting them today. Find your food sources today. Start planting today. Spring is right around the corner. We are ready for change. And that change is going to smack us whether we like it or not. You're watching Full Spectrum Survival on YouTube, where I doom scroll so that you don't have to. Please make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. From my family to yours, please stay safe and keep watch.